Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And in this week's episode we will be talking about chapter 405, Performance.
That sure was a performance, alright.
Oh man guys, this is a banger chapter.
We're in for a good time today, in today's episode.
Yes, I cannot wait. Then after that, of course, we will be going through our community comments. If you would like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version, either on the video or the community post. Also make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are available, click the bell to enable notifications. And if you're an audio listener, make sure to rate and review and follow us. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you'd like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we have provided timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments.
As always.
So, we got a few things to talk about before we get into the chapter today. First of all, let me embarrass Dylan real quick. So tomorrow, actually, is Dylan's birthday. So everybody in the comments give Dylan a nice happy birthday. Because I'm sure a lot of you will be watching on Monday. So
yeah, my birthday.
There you go.
Good chapter for my birthday. I can't really complain. But yeah, thank you, Kaige. I appreciate that.
Yes, indeed. So other than that, though, we did put up a poll earlier in the week. I don't know if I'll say straight up, this won't be like a weekly thing, but I want to put these out every once in a while just to kind of get some additional conversations going. I definitely had a good time reading through these at work and responding to some people.
We got a lot of responses. Yeah, a lot of
we did. Yeah, this was very successful. This was 342 votes on this. That's pretty big.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And so the question was, who among these three, which we call Team B of the Phantom Troop, is going to die first? The options were obviously Finks, Nobunaga, Phaeton, and a fourth option being all survive / someone else dies first. So in order of results, we'll go Finks was number one at 38%. All survive / someone else dies first was second place with 29%. Nobunaga was third with 25%, and Phaeton was dead last at only 9%.
Nobody believes Phaeton will die first.
Yeah, and I understand why. There were some convincing arguments, though. So hopefully we did. We chose a couple responses here to read on the show in relation to this. So let's take a look at Ultimate Power here first, who says, "If I had to choose Phaeton. His strength and durability is based on the pain he takes and his anger. We saw a glimpse of how him being rusty in Chimera Ant arc had the other members saying if he dies, they go next. So Phaeton is taken out via an ability that isn't related to blunt force trauma. He's an easy kill. He's built for long battles, aka torture, for him and the opponent." So yeah, that's a good point. He does have a pretty glaring weakness. And I think that could be pretty easily exploited. It's definitely an option. I think there's another Phaeton response that we took that I do like a little more than this, but I think that's a pretty solid reasoning for why you would choose Phaeton, who is clearly the minority pick here.
Yeah, there's also something I don't think the other comment even really talks about. I believe maybe there's another comment that that was said somewhere in the community on that post as well, where Phaeton's ability is so ridiculous that it might just destroy the whole boat if you were to use that.
Yeah.
So I feel like in that sense, in a meta sense, it would make sense if he were to die pretty early on, just because what is he theoretically going to do that wouldn't just destroy everything, So
yeah.
There's that as well to consider.
Yeah, his ability could easily destroy the boat, so that's definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
So the next one we took was from Sopa P. Globo, who says, "I don't know why I think Finks is going to die first. I just want to see Phaeton's reaction, to be honest. They seem so close since they were little. I kind of want to see him affected by it." So yeah, this is also, this kind of spawns some thoughts in my head, because I'm also a Finks believer, I guess that's probably not the best way to say it. I think he's going to die first as well.
Doomer. That's what you're looking for.
yeah. And this is kind of what I was trying to get at. This effect on Phaeton is really interesting. I think it could be a good way to explore his character in a deeper way, get some like emotional response out of him. Because obviously he's like the edgy cool guy. He doesn't really talk a whole lot, and he also can barely talk, as you know.
Make it hit all the harder if he would actually show like emotion for something.
Yeah, exactly. It would be a really strong moment, I think, for him and Nobunaga as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah, especially Nobunaga. But
yeah. And so the last one we took was from Stabo Game Boy, who says, I think Phaeton because he may be younger than Finks and Nobunaga, and that would make him the little homie. Considering they've all been locked in since childhood, that would make for the most emotional moment and give us something incredible from the others. Plus, Finks and Nobunaga are literally my favorite troop members. So this is the exact opposite of the last comment, saying that Phaeton dying would affect Finks and Nobunaga in an interesting way. Yeah, I agree. It really could. Like, it could go both ways. I think any of these three dying first will be very interesting for the other two survivors.
No, agreed. And I never really thought about like Phaeton specifically having like this big of an effect if like either him or someone close to him within that group were to die. But like I think it's just because you don't really like, as cool as Phaeton is, he doesn't really get a whole lot of the spotlight throughout the series, unfortunately.
No, he doesn't.
He kind of just falls to the wayside, at least in terms of when I think about the troop. But it's really interesting seeing responses, like the multiples of these responses, talk about how Phaeton could have an effect on just like an emotional moment for a troop member dying, whether he is the one to die or not. And I think that's really interesting. I haven't really thought about it before.
For sure, yeah. Those who chose Phaeton, it was the smallest pick, but everybody who chose him was pretty vocal about why they feel that way, which I think is interesting. That adds some more weight to those choices there. Yeah. So if you guys want to see those responses, go ahead and check out that community post. You can also still vote on it. I mean, it's not really going to change much at this point. The results are kind of locked in. But yeah. I
feel like we might be getting a lot of the fourth option if people are to vote on that now, considering this chapter we're about to discuss. Yeah, we'll get into that.
But. Yes. So yeah, beyond that, we do have a little bit of news to cover this week. There was a new trailer for Nen Impact featuring our boy Razor.
He looks pretty sick.
Yes, he does look cool. The game, though, is looking rough visually.
That explosion on his super is like the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's rough. I cannot lie.
Yeah.
But it's okay. You know, I'm still excited for the game. I think, graphics aren't everything. I think it's still going to be a great time. Everybody that got their hands on it early has been saying it's a really fun game, and that's all that matters.
And you got to consider as well, the only like really rough looking parts about the game are with like the cinematic supers. But like the actual gameplay itself, it looks fine, at least to me.
Yeah.
Like the
motion,
sound, yeah. The sound effects, I guess, could still be cleaned up even. But like,
true.
I don't know. Like it's tolerable enough to me, I feel like, to want to give it a shot still. It's just the supers are, they don't feel very supery, No,
they don't. They lack a lot of impact.
Yeah. Funny considering it's Nen Impact.
That's yeah.
But we'll see if any further progress comes by the time it comes out.
Yes, but it's very cool that Razor's playable in general. I think that's awesome.
Very cool pick for a fighting game. Yeah,
especially base roster. I wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah. No royal guards or anything. They pick Razor over that.
Yeah,
it's very funny.
Yeah. And then we got the normal manga progress updates. There's a few things to talk about here, actually. So he finished inking 423 this week, and he's now working on 424, and he's up to page 12. But the cool thing he's been doing this week is with every tweet, he's been doing this sketch of like a bunch of characters, and he's adding like a character or two every day. Mm-hmm. And it's been cool to see it started off as pretty much just a Hunter exams like reunion. It was all the Hunter exams characters, but now just today we got Kite in there.
Yeah.
So let's see how much further he gets. This is really fun to watch. It's cool to see him draw all these old characters he hasn't drawn in a while, like Tonpa.
I just want to say this confirms that Kite is on Tagashi's mind. Hey, maybe something comes to that, you know? But
Maybe, yeah. Also interesting that it wasn't Kite's like new body.
Yeah, very interesting. Maybe I'm just on copium, but you know, it's cool to see Kite represented in some new art. Also funny to see, what was it, Ulumi sitting on Leorio's lap?
Oh yeah, the shock of the century.
Wouldn't have expected that out of Leorio, but hey, you do you.
Yeah.
Very cool though. I like seeing that sketch being updated each day.
Yeah, it's been really cool. All right, and with that, I think we are ready to dive into this crazy chapter. I'm very excited. I've got so much to say.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get into it. There's a lot to discuss.
Let's do it. Yes.
Okay, welcome guys to chapter 405, Performance. I just want to make a quick call out before we actually start discussing the chapter. This is something we kind of want to start doing each week. We want to make all of our viewers and listeners aware. If you want to read along with us as we are discussing reading the chapter, you can do so by visiting viz.com/shonenjump or by downloading either the Shonen Jump or Manga Plus app. As these chapters are released, for about 3 weeks, whatever the 3 newest chapters are, you can read them completely for free without even subscribing to either of these services. We just want to make a call out to that in case you want to read along with us as we are discussing. Make it a little bit easier maybe to follow along for these episodes. So again, viz.com/shonenjump or by downloading the Shonen Jump or Manga Plus app if you are interested in that.
Yes.
With that being said, though, we're going to go ahead and dive into the chapter with page one more, as we see a very familiar face there in that panel, even just from the jawline.
Ooh.
So we then see one more as we see a pile of cards, looking like we're playing some kind of card game, maybe in a casino area. We see some people questioning, isn't poker played with 5 cards? Square X. It uses multiple decks. This is Square 3. When you get a duplicate card, you can increase your hand size, and with it, the payout. If you win, the stakes are set to the power of however many one mores you've claimed. But you can't fold, so it's also known as go to heaven. I've witnessed a number of people go bankrupt myself. Call. And then we flip the page, and we see the man himself, Kaige.
There he is, guys. Hisoka. He's back. And for real this time, as we'll get into momentarily. We've got to own up to our sins, Dylan. We were wrong.
We'll
but
get
that's
there.
Okay.
We'll get there, yeah.
Yes, but he's looking great. And I was very excited about this. I did get spoiled on, unfortunately.
This panel specifically, like this page?
Yeah.
Dang.
But honestly, that did not end up being the biggest thing in this chapter, so I'm not too upset about it.
That's the best surprise you could get, right? Like something big like this, and it's not even the biggest spoiler in the chapter.
Yep. So we see Hisoka, and he's now monologuing to himself, saying, "Really, I've got pretty normal tastes."
All right.
Right. When I heard about exterminating the ants, it didn't turn me on because they were ants.
I just want to make a quick, I love that, just a small little sentence like this just explains a lot of why Tagashi didn't even include him within that entire arc.
This whole monologue he has over these next 2 pages is just, I love it so much. This is just Hisoka, man. Mm-hmm. He also hit the jackpot while he said that line, by the way.
Lucky guy, right?
Yeah,
he's just winning everything.
Lucky man. He goes on and says, the tremendous rumbling I felt a number of times here. Finding out it was a group ability made possible through the support of a Nen beast created with the power of a ceremony, it really turned me off.
So this says a lot about Hisoka and what he's doing now, because this shows, even though he's disinterested in at least Hulkenberg, just as an entire person, right? Which was a common theory that we were seeing about hey, maybe Hisoka goes and finds Hulkenberg or whatever, he's turned on. He's turned off. So that's, cool little confirmation there, but also he just knows about the succession contest in general now.
Yes, and
that's a
that's
lot
something
of
we'll get into. That's interesting,
yeah. So a lot to be discussed within those first couple sentences. But as we see, turning the page, We see, I'm normal. I'm not interested in bestiality or an orgy. I can't get aroused. I'm just a guy who wants to be with someone one-on-one so we can love each other to death.
I got chills. That is, oh my god, that's the most Hisoka line in the world. Like,
Yeah.
that's just him. That's you can boil his whole character down to that line right there.
Yeah, this is literally just a one sentence explains everything about him, really.
I loved that little monologue there. It's just so good.
It's purely Hisoka and nothing more. Yeah, I don't know. God, this character's so cool. So creepy. So cool.
Yeah, he's just something else, man.
Yeah, and just this little panel in general. It's so simple. Such a simple paneling from Togashi, but just like, playing with like the broken up doll being disintegrated as he's dancing with it. Like, that says a lot just about his character in general, too. So, I love that.
Yeah, amazing.
He then says to himself, or thinks to himself, sad, but oh well. There's always solitaire. And starts walking away. We see a pair of shoes. We see somebody just standing around the corner from where he's walking. And we see Hisoka? Another one? Yeah. And this Hisoka thinks to himself, wow, I didn't think I'd actually come across him in the Tier 1 VIP casino. He's not another fake Hisoka, is he? Guys, I'm sorry. I was a doubter.
Yeah.
I was a doubter, and I've been proven wrong. I gotta own up to it.
We both do. We gotta own up to this. We did not believe at all. We spat in the face of this theory, but here it is.
Yeah, so as we are going to learn over the next couple of pages, Hisoka was in fact not Hisoka. And at least the one that we saw. We do know the real Hisoka is here now, though,
yes.
even from this. Like, even from that model, like, that is the real Hisoka.
Yeah, this is Hisoka.
Yeah. Let's get into who this other Hisoka may be, though. You want me to transform into Hisoka? Yeah. And then take it away, Kaige, for the next part.
Chrollo and Bonolenov are speaking. Chrollo, barely see him, but there he is.
Yeah, he's back.
He says, go hang out where the mafia might be. They should come to you and take you to the nicer rooms. Bonolenov says, why? And he says, to maintain balance. Balance again, guys.
Yeah, it's all about the balance.
Chrollo continues and says, to the mafia, both us and Hisoka are wild cards. Roaming freely through their turf could make them lose face. But if they try to recruit either of us according to their conventions, it would lead to a fight and disrupt the balance. Something the mafia hates the most. True.
Yeah.
The simplest way to avoid that would be to find Hisoka and keep him away from us. We're a group, so it's harder to contain us. Bonolenov says, I see. Once the mafia thinks I'm Hisoka and tuck me away, the troop is free to go find the real Hisoka. Chrollo then says, then everyone can save face. Although promoters might try to feature Hisoka since he is a floor master. And then we cut back to... Oh, wait, no, sorry. This is still Bonolenov, but he is now transformed. So a little bit further in the future now. Mm-hmm. He's thinking to himself, the real Hisoka is likely already on Tier 1 somewhere as a VIP through some prince's invitation. Once you get invited upstairs, be careful that you don't run into him. Oh, this is actually Chrollo saying
that was Chrollo.
Yeah. He's thinking about it, though. But yeah. That's an interesting line.
There's a lot to unpack here. So I guess the first things first is that... So the whole point of Bonolenov disguising as Hisoka is to make the mafia members think they have everything under control when this is actually just letting the troop search freely for Hisoka without issue.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a big development there. And that was also pretty much the entire basis of those Hisoka is not Hisoka theories, whether it was Chrollo being disguised as them or not. So kudos to all those people who believed in those theories. I can't be mad anymore about that. Yeah. So
yeah. I will say, though, the people that did theorize that got a little too crackpot with it, because the real answer is it is just Bonolenov. A lot of people are thinking, oh, Chrollo's copying Bonolenov's ability, or like it's Illumi or something, but no, it is just straight up Bonolenov.
Yeah. But so there's that. And then I guess the other thing to unpack is what you just read, Kaige. Hisoka was likely invited to Tier 1 by a prince, and that's...
Yeah.
So that explains why he has knowledge about the succession contest now.
Right.
But just... So knowing that he has knowledge about the succession contest, and also that it's likely he got there through a prince's invitation, it's entirely likely he's going to be involved with it, like within it heavily in some way, I think. And that's a scary thought.
Yeah. I want to talk more about this after we reach a different line later, but I want to point out that it is just speculation that he was invited by a prince.
Right.
Could he have been invited by someone else, though? And I'll get into that more later. So, Bonolenov thinks to himself, Chrollo was so right, but I bet he didn't tell everyone because he wants to deal with Hisoka himself. And then Chrollo, I think, again, he's thinking about what Chrollo said to him. He says, if you find him, transform into someone else and wait for me. I'll decide whether we fight. And then Bonolenov thinks to himself, my ability doesn't work well against Hisoka anyway. There's no way I could transform while dodging that gum. And so he transforms into some guy, just some random dude, I think. I don't think we know this person. Maybe we do, but
maybe it was like way back in the series, but I don't recognize him either, unfortunately.
Doesn't ring a bell. And then the narrator kicks in and says, transformation metamorphosin is one of Bonolenov's abilities, which is one I forgot to include in the chart. I only included his other one. My bad. He can transform into someone he has talked to in person. The time he can maintain the transformation is equal to the time he spent with that person. There's no limit in body size, but the smaller the body compared to his, the shorter he feels the time he can remain transformed, per Bonolenov.
Interesting ability.
It is, yeah. So that must mean he can probably be Hisoka for a long time, considering they work together.
Yeah, and also Bonolenov seems to be fairly tall as well, so like, the body size thing, I imagine, isn't a huge limiter.
No, probably not. And Bonolenov, now in his new body, says to himself, that woman whose punch could reveal your inner voice. She found out who I was, so I had to kill her. Or is this...
That's Bonolenov.
Is he saying that? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's a bombshell, though. What do you mean by that, huh?
Right. I let the IV drip guy live so I could come upstairs, but I hope that won't be a problem. Even if they find her body later, they won't think Hisoka did it, would they? And we flash back now to his encounter with, with Lynch and, Lynch and who? I forget.
Don't ask me. I'm not the person to be.
It's slipping my mind right now.
But while you're looking at the slides, I'm assuming for that. We're flashing back now to, if you guys remember from quite a few chapters ago now, with Lynch and the IV guy.
Zakuro.
Finding, huh?
Zakuro,
yeah, with them finding who we thought was Hisoka at the time. That was Bonolenov. So guess we're about to see how that unfolded.
Yes, and Lynch says, "Are you Hisoka?" A scene we've seen before. And she punches him, and what she hears through his inner voice is actually, "No, I'm only pretending to be Hisoka." So right in that moment, she knew. We didn't, but she did.
So we then flip the page to seeing Bonolenov thinking to himself, was that my voice? And then Zakuro, or he's standing in front of Zakuro as this is happening. Lynch is on the ground, obviously. He says, oops, or thinks to himself, oops, they found out. The guy must have heard too. And then Zakuro says, you're Hisoka, right? And then Bonolenov says, I guess you didn't hear me. Thinking to himself once again after this, I see. So the ones who can hear the inner voice with this ability are the user and the one who got hit. And then we hear a thud, and we see Zakuro, or we see two different Zakuros. We see one knocked out next to the trash, and we see another Zakuro talking to Lynch, saying, are you okay? He said he was Hisoka. Lynch said, no, he's a fake. I asked his body. He's trying to trick us. He's from Haley or the troop. Either way, he ain't getting away with this. I'll get Henry to put him on the top of the hit list. As Lynch then says, oh, that's too bad, with a lot of menacing aura surrounding. So, the implication here, unfortunately, guys, if you were a Lynch fan, I am so sorry. Bonolenov killed Lynch, disguised as Zakuro.
Yep.
Yeah.
A damn shame. I liked her ability a lot, at least. I thought that was a really cool one.
It was such a cool ability, but so short-lived. It's so sad.
I know. Yeah, it's a shame on that one.
But it is what it is. We then get a lot of monologuing from Bonolenov explaining the events, saying, after I took the form of the woman I killed, I tricked the IV guy and led them to the movie theater. So, yeah, confirmed, obviously, he killed Lynch, and then disguised as Lynch. If you guys remember from that chapter when they escaped from the trash. So, Lynch was also Bonolenov in that moment. It's so funny looking back on these scenes now and just kind of knowing the context now. Poor guys. So took the form of the woman I killed, tricked the IV guy, and led them to the movie theater. They'll think someone else killed her after they split up, right? It'll work out. From the IV guy's point of view, her death wouldn't be connected to my tip with her. Even if they find her body, the Mafia probably wouldn't come upstairs en masse to kill Hisoka. Probably. I think. Not very confident, but
no.
He's just going with the flow. As Bonolenov was shown to kind of have that, the idea of, he wanted Chrollo to kind of give the orders to him, even back when they all split up for Hisoka.
Yep.
I don't know. I should just ask Chrollo, but I'd really like to get Finks' group to deal with Hisoka. We all know Chrollo is hurting over Shao and Cortopi, and he's trying to act like he's fine because he knows that we know. Everyone knows he wants to settle it once and for all by himself this time. And we get a huge bombshell here, and that the treasure he seeks on this ship is an ability that he'll need to kill Hisoka for good. That's why everyone wants to kill Hisoka first, before Chrollo can get to him.
Yeah.
Wow. This is going to open the floodgates for so many theories, I feel like, this part specifically. Because now that we know what he's seeking on Tier 1 is just a whole Nen ability, who is he targeting? That's the question now.
There's a lot of questions. I mean, obviously the biggest one that comes to mind is like, do we know about the ability already?
Yep.
Because if we do, surprisingly, I had like an immediate first thought that just like popped into my head. What if it's Camilla's ability?
Oh, what if, are you thinking that he doesn't want post-mortem Nen shenanigans at all with Hisoka?
So, yeah, there's that, and it's just like, that's an ability. It's like an insta-kill, basically. Like, it's free. Mm-hmm. And it relies on, the target being killed. And obviously, if Hisoka sees Chrollo, gonna go after him. And, maybe Chrollo could, like, stage a fight, and then ultimately have Hisoka win, but then he's dead anyways, because the cat will kill him.
Yeah.
That's just where my head went, because that is a crazy ability, and we haven't seen anything done with it since Camilla got arrested. But obviously, we're about to start seeing her faction get more involved, so maybe we'll get more with her soon. Right.
But then, another question pops into your mind, though, whenever you're thinking about this, is like, how would Chrollo have found out about it? Like, any of these abilities in general. It's interesting to think about.
That's the question, yeah. And I just figure, like, if any abilities would be known, I guess would be a prince's. But I don't know. It could also just be one of Benjamin's, like, army people or something. Who knows? I don't know what he could want. This is huge.
It's especially like curious because Chrollo is such a creative user of Nen in general, with like the book and just kind of using multiple abilities at once. Like, he's very unorthodox. So like it could not be as simple as like just stealing Camilla's ability and being able to have an insta kill ability. Like maybe he wants something really niche that we're just not even considering, because like he has like alternative use for it, or like wants to combine it with a specific other ability that maybe we don't even know about that's in his book. It could be, again, the floodgates really open up with something like this being revealed, and I'm very curious to see other people's theories on it, because this is going to be a very big question moving forward now into the arc.
This is massive.
Yeah. So now, yeah, we know Hisoka's involved in the succession contest now in some way, and then we know that Chrollo will ultimately get involved in this in the contest at some point from the implications of this goal. So, oh man, I think we're right on the money with everything converging now, Kaige. I think we're really approaching that point.
It's coming, dude. Like, wow.
Yeah,
It's happening.
and as we get further in the chapter, we're gonna see that unfold even more. I feel like, but we go to the last panel of this couple pages, saying, "Chrollo, you've kept the number 9 spot empty this whole time. We all understand. Let's let Hisoka be the last and close the curtain on this performance." Oh man, you can't help but sympathize for Chrollo, regardless. But even though he is a maniac still, obviously, don't get me wrong. But it's just sad how everything happened. Obviously.
Yep. So we flip the page and we get a announcement over the the TVs and the PR system of the boat. Some guy just saying it's been 10 years since the brutal murder of Mr. Rinsworth, the chairman of Mom's Help, the charity foundation dedicated to helping children. No suspects have ever been caught. Today, we look back at his contributions and pay our respects to his greatness. There has been a growing public outcry demanding the identification and arrest of his murderer. And some people in the background are talking about it, saying, didn't they initially report that credit had been claimed, but then walked it back in a really weird way? And then someone else says, maybe it's bad if the guy who did it gets caught. Someone says, dark web stuff. Someone else says, the untimely death of a philanthropist. Ha ha. And someone else says, who are these morons who take what the media says at face value? Chrollo walking on with a menacing look on his face.
Dude, what is he wearing here? That's what I want to know.
It looks very interesting. I don't know.
It's like a onesie coat combination almost.
There's
very interestingly colored by Togashi. Or I guess not colored, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It just looks weird. But
it does, yeah.
That is a Chrollo fit if I've ever seen one, though.
It sure is.
He's up to something. Do we know what tier he's on in this panel? It's just something that came to mind. It has to be like tier 3-ish.
My guess would be 3, yeah, but I don't know.
Just something that kind of popped up in my mind. It's like, I don't know if we know that information. So
yeah, no, I don't think so.
Something to consider.
Indeed. Now we cut back to the people that we initially thought we'd be spending the whole chapter with.
No, just the back half of this chapter.
Yeah. So we're back with Team B. And someone says, something you wanted to know? That's probably Wang that said that. And Nobunaga says, yeah, all you guys have known Haley for a long time, right? What is that guy's name? Hold on.
Getting a refresher on everybody.
Before that guy says anything, Henry says, their new boss just recently took over, and that guy's name is Tajao.
Tajao.
He says no.
Also, you meant Wang, right? You said Henry, I believe.
Oh, did I? Whoops, yeah.
I was like, where the hell is Henry?
One and the same to me, but yeah. So Tajao says no, and then Wang says, their new boss just recently took over. Nobunaga says, yeah? So it's hard to predict what they're thinking. Wang says, I suppose. And Nobunaga says, if they're not even a functional mafia family, it's honestly hard to notice that something's off. Wang has this interesting look on his face, I guess of almost disgust, it looks like.
Yeah, disgust, confusion.
It's a Wang face if I've seen one.
Yeah.
He says, what are you trying to say? Nobunaga says, just that. Is it really Haley on this ship? What do you think?
We get some pondering on the next page from both Wang and Tajao, just kind of looking at one another. Tajao says, interesting idea. If they're not Haley, then who are they? Wang then chimes in saying, they had the official succession ceremony. The boss even went, as did the rest of us. But if you're trying to say the previous boss was manipulated with Nen and killed, Finks then asks, what's the current Haley boss like? Wang says, a young woman named Morena, a royal descendant without succession rights. The Kakin Mafia boss titles are always inherited by a person of royal blood who has no claim to the throne. And this is information that we already knew from, discussing the mafia bosses. Wang then continues saying, so it's not like we don't know her at all. But like you say, we're not so close that we know what she wants. So basically, we're aware of her status, what she is. We don't know her that well. Like, past that, though. Past the surface level. Are they really Haley on paper? Yes. Or are they really Haley? Wang asks. On paper, yes. But we don't know what they're after. Did you guys get some sort of clue? Nobunaga responds, we didn't find anything concrete, but we do know some things from fighting them. And referencing back when him and Henry kind of infiltrated their base for a brief moment. Mm-hmm. Nobunaga continues, they seem to be doing whatever they want. Case in point, the wall guy came over and got himself killed. Rest in peace. Yes. But when we went to their hideout, they were organized, and their behavior showed they were under some leadership. Wang and Tajo are just kind of having the go on kind of faces. They're listening. Nobunaga continues in this really sick up close panel shot of his face.
Yeah.
Their leader decides the strategy, and specific tactics are left to each of them. That's our style, and they're using the same playbook. So essentially saying, Morena says, hey, I want this to be the goal, and then just kind of leaves everybody else to figure out how they achieve that goal, essentially. Yep. The problem is A, what's their motivation? And B, what kind of orders are they operating under? If they're trying to crush the other families, it makes sense to kill the other members. But they're killing civilians. Why? Wang responds, who knows? Maybe A is something else. Nobunaga says, exactly. Haley is trying to destroy everything. And yeah, very good observation considering what we as the readers know, and that Morena does want to destroy everything. She hates everything.
Indeed she does.
And you can't even really blame her because of her upbringing.
Right.
Tajo and Wang look kind of surprised at this statement. Tajo says, everything? Nobunaga says, yeah. Everyone aboard this ship, including the royal family. In other words, Kakin itself. The sealed chamber this cruise ship presents is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Also, there could be multiple motivations. So, very observant as ever, Nobunaga is.
Indeed.
Yeah, you said everything completely correct as far as we as the readers know.
Yeah. He goes on to say, the power needed to destroy everything. They're killing to get that power. Finks chimes in and says, using human sacrifices to obtain supernatural power is a classic move. You know about contracts with limitations, right? Phaeton then says, they plan to kill all people anyway, so use number people they kill as condition. Make powerful Nen. Well put, Phaeton.
Well put.
Tajo says, look, I'm not one to talk, but this sounds crazy.
It does actually
certainly
sound
not normal.
It does sound kind of crazy, like when, like, put yourself in Tajo's shoes, dude. Like this would be wild to be all hearing right now. Like they want to kill literally everyone on this boat, is what you're saying. Yes,
and just the fact that they're saying it with such confidence too. It's like so casual. Like, yeah, this is how it is.
Yeah, gosh.
Tajo goes on and says, not just Haley, you guys for coming up with it.
Yeah, like case in point. Like, how would you guys get led to this conclusion?
Yeah, and he goes on and says, how we came about was twisted to begin with. That's why we place importance on balance, and we're proud to have supported the country from the shadows. A fight is a last resort and used to keep things in check. Civilians are our customers, and we've never thought of them as targets. Wang kind of looks on at this. Attention has been caught by something there. As Tajo continues and says, I understand they look like Haley, but they're not on the inside. They're something entirely different from us, the Kakin Mafia. And so Tajo goes over and opens the door that we've been waiting on for a while.
Yeah.
And says, Sha'ar and Ji-Yu will fully cooperate. I'm asking you to crush Haley.
Here we go, guys. It's happening.
Dude, it's happening. It's ramping up. Like,
you said,
wow.
All right, you've convinced me. Yeah, Haley is not actually Mafia. They are fucked up, is essentially what he's saying. Yeah, we will cooperate with you. Go crush them. Like, holy crap.
I want to point out this is something we literally talked about last chapter. This idea of the troop being able to convince them to open that door early, just to be like, yeah, we can handle this right now. Just let us go through that door.
And
it happened.
It's happened.
It literally happened.
Dude.
Yeah.
This is a crazy chapter.
Oh
We're not
my
even finished with it. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to read a crazy reveal on the next page too. But before that, Nobunaga says, "The three of us will go on ahead then." Fink says, "Can you tell the rest of us and Henry?" By the way, I want to point out, Nobunaga has a sword.
Yeah. Good question. Maybe he just got it back. I don't know.
Yeah, that felt like it would be a bigger deal, but I guess it just kind of happened off screen. I don't know. It's
important here, though, is that these three are about to walk in, but they want to gather the rest of the troop and Henry as well to handle all this too. So we might see a reunion of the other troop members soon.
We could, yeah. And then Henry, wow, I keep doing that. Then Wang thinks to himself, what to do? As out loud, he says, I'll send a grunt to fetch them.
We flip the page to a crazy reveal. Wang looking on at the three as they're walking through the door, thinking to himself, Morena, we've got a problem. These guys might find you far sooner than we expected. It accelerates the schedule a lot, but we might have to use our Joker. So man, now we see Wang's true affiliation is with the Haley. That is crazy. Reveal.
This, I was like, what? Are you kidding me right now? There's no way.
I've never, ever thought of this as a possibility.
No, this is wild. This guy's like a quadruple agent. He is pulling so many strings. Oh my god.
One of the biggest brain people on the entire ship, maybe? I can't believe it. I never even suspected him. Yeah.
This is crazy. This is truly insane. I don't have much to say about it other than that.
But, so, there's two implications here, though. Not only do we know that he is affiliated with Haley and works for Morena, but we are now being referenced to something as their Joker. As a kind of a wild card.
This is what I wanted to get into. Crackpot, what if it's Hisoka?
And hey, listen, there was some theories going back when we were reading the stuff in the theory video, talking about how Hisoka could be working for the Haley, and maybe things are starting to tie into that possibility a little bit with him. There's speculation. Maybe a prince invited him. Maybe it wasn't an actual prince though. Maybe it was it
was Morena.
It was Morena, and then use our Joker. Obviously, Hisoka's clown Joker. Little tie in there. It's kind of nothing, but it could be something. And it would just make sense as to why he knows as much as he does, seemingly, about what's happening in the upper tiers. So, hey, things are starting to look more possible with that than they were before. So I'm open to that idea for certain.
Yes, me too.
It's a crazy thing to think about. But we also have to keep in mind it could not be Hisoka. It could be some other crazy wild card. But either way, that is another factor we have to keep in mind now with the Haley, is that they have something up their sleeve.
It also just might be Dogman. I want to point that out because we do just cut immediately to him after that line. It could just be implying that Dogman is this Joker, this wild card per se. Which
I'll go ahead and get into now, reading the rest of these. We then see a close-up of Morena with the ruminating aura around her. Cutting to a little meeting room, it looks like, of some sorts. Talking to a silhouette, Morena saying, I hear Hulkenberg's funeral procession is taking place. A lot of people will gather for the send-off. A perfect opportunity. Think you're ready? And then we see Dogman, the man himself. Yeah. With everyone's help, I leveled up a lot. I could sniff out Nen types 5 meters away, and whether they've learned Nen from 2 meters. And we then see he's now level 62.
I just looked. He was level 36 last we saw him. So holy hell.
He beefed up. And there was we hit a breakpoint then at level 50, right? Level 50 is when something happens. I can't remember the exact thing.
It's just level 21 and level 100. Level 100 is whenever you become a new patient 0.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
This is interesting though then, because this implies that leveling up a lot, like even though he hasn't reached a breakpoint level, because he was already past like level 20 last time we saw him. This implies that he's gotten stronger from the level ups, which is not something we really considered as like part of
Oh, no, that's part of it.
Is it part of it?
Yeah, every time you level up, it increases like the effectiveness of your nen.
Oh, okay. I just completely forgot about that part then. That's my bad.
That's part of it. No worries. It's easy to forget details like that.
Well, that explains why he can now sniff out nen types, which is an interesting ability. I don't know if that's like his actual nen ability or not. It's not really,
not sure.
The wording of that is a little confusing in that regard. Either way, I'll reread that line just to, for clarity. I can sniff out nen types 5 meters away, and whether they've learned nen from 2 meters. If I sniff their heads up close, I can identify them 100%. I'll find them. And
okay.
We don't really know who them is. We just know that it has something to do with Hulkenberg's funeral procession. So,
indeed, another hyped up event, guys. Dude, so much is gonna go down.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, it's all revolving around the Hulkenberg funeral. It's not something I ever would have expected going into this batch of chapters.
Yeah, that trial, throw it out the window. That ain't happening anymore.
No, it's not the trial that's the focal point. It's the funeral.
Yeah.
Crazy change of pace there.
Okay, now I get to test my Haley member knowledge here. So, first of all, Marina is saying, if dog successfully finds who we're looking for, it's a green light. The beginning of the end, she says very happily.
With a little musical note, yeah.
And then it's hard to make out because they're just really chibi faces, but I think that's Bill, like Bile, that guy.
That sounds right, yeah. Or that looks right, rather.
Who says, all right, so exciting. And then Gelato there, I definitely know that's the pro gamer, can't forget, says, but it's kind of iffy whether they'll join us once they hear our goals. Miranda says, yeah, that's true. I'll try my best to make sure we get a yes. And then Gelato cheering her on in the corner saying, never give up. Dogman then says, let's go. How should I let you know if Sodom finds the target? To which Sodom then says, I'll be by your side. So just point them out. I'll take care of the rest. And so we don't know Sodom's nen ability either. I just checked our document to make sure. So don't know.
We do get one little tidbit about it though here.
Yes, we do. He says, my ability to abduct them counts on them not knowing nen. Okay. I can bring them here by myself.
So it's an abduction type ability, which is a little spooky. But...
yeah. Dogman says, okay. And then Voconte says, Morena, where did the others go? Morena says, they're leveling up in processing. They really want to get revenge on Henry. And we see 3 people here. Let me get their names. One of them, the one on the right is, I think that is actually Terrabellum. He just looks really weird.
Tagashi said, all right, change of design right now.
No, actually, never mind. That's Tevalaris.
Okay.
I can tell by the lines on his head.
Oh, yeah, that's like the forehead lines, right?
And he is one of the people that fought Henry in the in like the tier 3 or wherever that was. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
One in the middle is Damon. That's the other one that fought him there. And then the other one is Quarrel, who, again, is the other one that fought him in the hallway.
All of them that got their asses handed to them by Henry.
Yeah, the one that didn't die also.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're powering up. I don't know what level they are, but that's interesting.
Well, we know one of them. One of them is level... It says it right there.
What, on the page?
Yeah.
Does it?
The one on the left, level 51, is sick for reals.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get to the dialogue yet. My bad. Yeah. So I guess we can't really tell who exactly is saying what here, but somebody's saying, let's go. Ooh, just like Marina said. And, that one we know. That's Quarrel saying,
yeah.
Level 51 is sick for reals. That's quite the power-up.
We could probably... It's probably implied here that all of them are around level 50, give or take.
Yeah, that's what I would think too. So let's see where we're at. Damon previously last time was level 20. Quarrel was 22, and Tevalaris was 24.
Okay.
So they've about doubled their levels roughly. We don't know the other two, but
which means roughly doubled their ability in Nen from last time.
And now we get a cut back to Team B, and Finks is thinking a door. And then Tajao says, from here on out, things will be a bit rough. And they're looking on at something, and Finks says, whoa. And Nobunaga says, what the heck?
I cannot imagine what they must be seeing if they're even surprised.
Yeah.
Big cliffhanger going into next week.
Wow. So, man.
There's a lot that happened.
There is so much coming up. We're moving fast. Like, I'm so excited. I'm feeling these three dudes, these Haley members. We're gonna get some like one-on-ones here with these guys. I think we might have them run into the troop here. Each one of them gets a fight, because we know Henry is probably going to meet up with them, and their target is Henry.
Yeah,
so,
Henry's gonna meet up with them almost assuredly, and maybe even a couple of other troop members at some point. Like maybe
this
Franklin.
Is gonna get crazy. Yeah, I bet Franklin at least. I think that's a lock almost, because they were talking about meeting up with him anyways.
Yeah, they've been alluding to Franklin joining up with them for a little bit now, so that only makes sense to me. But yeah, maybe some other troop members too. We'll see, I suppose. Yeah, I like the idea of maybe leading into like some one-on-one fights, and I don't think any three of them will die from these fights. I feel like they might kill these guys in any case, but
yeah, I don't think deaths are coming here.
That being said,
I still think if anyone, Dogman would take a life though.
It would make all the sense in the world to kind of give these troop members a big spotlight with like some kind of fight, letting them mess up some stuff before killing off some of them. It's just something to keep in mind. That'd be a classic move to do for any shonen, really. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, this is just nuts. Dude, this is gonna be crazy. There's so much to be excited for. I can't even get my head on straight with all these things to think about now.
There's so much now. There's so much to keep in mind going forward. We're moving at a breakneck pace.
We are. It's just so exciting. Like, and now that we've actually fully for real seen Hisoka, that's also just so exciting, man. And he's just like chilling right now. Really, he's not really too bothered by much at the moment.
Yeah, but he's working with maybe a prince, maybe someone else that's affiliated in some way with the contest now. So like, there's that revelation, and just oh man, like he's chilling, but he's not chilling at the same time. It's like oh man, I don't know what to think anymore. Crazy.
And yeah, so Bonolenov, I'm sure a lot of comments will point this out as well, but things aren't looking great for him.
I think he arguably has the biggest death flag out of any trooper now.
I think he's on his own.
He is well within my expectations that he will be the first to die now. I'm just considering the setup,
and that line, where Hisoka's like, well, there's always Solitaire, and then we see him, the other Hisoka. I think that's implying like playing with yourself. So
yeah,
I think he knows he's there.
He knows he's there, maybe, and then Bonolenov might get murked in the next few chapters.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the first. I guess it depends on screen time. Like, because if we progress the Team B plot far enough, I think Finks or one of them. But if we cut back to Bonolenov, he's next. Like,
yeah, I think Hisoka's just kind of waiting for the right time to make a move. And that we already set up the expectation as well with Bonolenov saying himself, there's no way I'm beating Hisoka. Like, that ain't happening.
Nope.
So, that's a prime target for Hisoka.
And Chrollo's somehow going to make it up here, I guess, because he's always like, because, he was talking to Bonolenov. He was like, well, let me know. I'll take care of it. But how is Chrollo getting here?
Good question.
That's what I really want to know right now.
Do you think maybe that's where he's heading when showing in the panel where he's kind of walking away from the new stuff happening?
Making some move there. Yeah, who's to say? I don't know what he's doing. And we also haven't seen Shizuku yet.
No, we don't know where Shizuku's at. We know that she's wrapped up in whatever Chrollo told her to do. Yeah. We just don't know what she's up to.
Right.
And then, we still don't know where, like, Machi is at even. We haven't seen her in a long time. So, who knows if she'll get involved either.
Yeah, she seemed pretty dead set on being alone, but who knows if that'll change,
Mm-hmm. So, this is all to say, though, there's so much to kind of keep in mind now with everything this chapter laid out. and it really changed a lot of our expectations, I think, going forward into this, whatever's happening in the next few chapters.
Yeah, this is an absolute game changer, man. This is happening like every chapter. It's just this. What a batch this has been so far. Like when this is in a volume. Batch. Oh my god, yeah. Like think about this in volume form. Like when whatever the next volume will be. I already lost track. Like 39 or something.
39 will be the next one.
Yeah, that's gonna be a banger volume, dude. Like especially if the next 5 are just as crazy. Oh my god, like we're talking one of the best volumes in the series, honestly.
Bro, it's probably gonna be like a Hulkenberg cover too, and oh my gosh, it's gonna be good.
Please give me a Hulkenberg cover. Oh my god.
Banger volume. I can't wait for that.
This is unbelievable stuff. I'm so excited to be reading this week to week. I can't wait for next week, dude.
Yeah. New chapter next week. We're probably gonna get Phantom Troop Team B shenanigans some more. We say that we every single week. I feel like we say, yeah, we're gonna open up with this next chapter, and then it's like something else entirely, and it's like actually the back half of what we're expecting.
So one thing, actually, I want to point this out. So the tweet Togashi did where he submitted chapter 406 to Jump.
Roughly, vaguely.
Yeah. So in that picture, this is pointed out on Twitter. I didn't think of this myself, but you can like see the first page through the envelope.
Uh-huh.
And what we're looking at is that door that they just walked through. Oh. So that almost guarantees we're at least starting off the chapter with Team B still.
Okay, got it. That's reassuring to know. That's really weird that like you're able to kind of see that though from Togashi's update. Right? You'd think he'd be more careful about that, but that's cool.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, almost guaranteed we'll at least start, but who knows? We might cut away again.
Yeah, it could cut away literally any moment. That's the Takashi special now. So,
yep.
We'll see, I suppose. But very exciting nonetheless. This is a great chapter.
Yeah, incredible chapter. We can, we'll break it down further whenever we read you guys' stuff. So, you ready to jump into that, Dylan?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's see what everybody else has to say.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. We are ready now to read your guys' thoughts and opinions about today's chapter. We got a lot. We got a lot of comments about it this morning. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. Kaige, I'll have you start off with the first one.
Okay, so the first one comes from Kaz, who says, this is on Twitter. So he says, I'll write here for Caige's happiness. Thank you. We finally got some Twitter responses. Not just this one either, so that's awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Please follow the Twitter account if you haven't already and you're able to. We're trying to post there pretty regularly.
Yes. He says, so the theories of Hisoka in chapters 392 and 393 being fake were real, indeed. I wasn't a believer, but going back to those chapters, the hints were in our face all the time and few people saw them coming. Besides that, Bono stakes have skyrocketed. Yes.
Yeah. Stakes, not stocks. Let's make that clear.
Yeah. Yes. The stakes have never been realer.
This actually does remind me though that like I was thinking back on it after reading the reveal this morning, and remember that comment that Hisoka was telling Henry at the time about like who's your favorite Phantom Troop member? It was in our face. Uh-huh. It was in our face the entire time.
Yeah. He said like I like all of them.
Yeah.
Of course he'd say that.
Of course he'd say that. He's a part of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. It's genius though, because like that is truly something like you would think of Hisoka asking. So like we just didn't think about the possibility of it being, a troop member still. I mean, other people did obviously, but I just didn't believe in it that heavily. It's cool to look back on those moments though and be like, oh yeah, that was obvious.
Yeah, that'll be a fun section to reread too in the future, just with that knowledge going forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for the write-in on the Twitter post though.
Yes,
I really appreciate that. Next up, we got comments from the actual community posts on the YouTube version. We have a Finian commenting saying, Bonolenov is cooked. I could not agree more. Yeah.
Yeah, he's donezo, man.
He's not staying around long. I don't see a use for him past, just being a freebie kill for Hisoka, unfortunately. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to be another Shalnark and Cortopi.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate, I think. And hey, I could be proven wrong, but I guess we'll see. But it's not looking good for our boy. Not at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Next comes from Roro Lavender, who says, which prince do each of you guys think will win and why? Excluding big favorite Terror Sandwich.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Interesting question. You want to go first, Dylan?
Who do I think will win and why? Well, the logical answer in terms of like storytelling would be like Wobble, right? Because like that's kind of like the end goal for Karapika, or kind of main character of the arc, is that, or at least a big secondary goal is to protect Wobble. But also his entire goal is to just not have the war, or just like end the war essentially, or succession contest, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's kind of up in the air on where this arc will eventually even end in. But if I had to pick a prince that I think would be, like, if this entire arc ends in like there actually being a solid winner to the contest, and I don't pick Wobble just based off the assumption that the good guys win,
Yeah.
I guess maybe Hulkenberg at the end of it all. Honestly. I don't know who else I really think would be in a favorable position aside from Serednich, obviously, but I think he'll probably eventually bite the dust just at the very end. I guess Hulkenberg, but now just because he's on such a roll right now, I don't know how he's theoretically stopped.
Yeah, I'm kind of exactly with you on every regard there. I kind of think, like, realistically, if there's a winner, narratively, it's probably going to be Wobble, but it's also probably going to play out where, the contest doesn't actually end exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who can really predict? But that's just how I see it going, one of those two options. But if it does go a different way, I'm also Team Hulkenberg. I really just, he's just got so much momentum. I also really love Hulkenberg. That's no secret. But I don't know. He's just too good. I don't know how you can stop him at this rate, especially if his whatever he's got planned with Benjamin goes through, and if he takes over his body, like we're speculating, it's over, dude.
Hulkenberg in Benjamin's body with control of martial law. Yeah, how do you stop that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's where I'm at, but we'll see.
Yep.
Next up, we got from Waste Ute. I hope I said that right. I apologize if not. Any early predictions from both of y'all about which prince Hisoka allied with? Probably happened because they were looking for hunter bodyguards before the succession war happened. I'm probably thinking Tubepa hired him for being good looking or something, lol. Or maybe Serednich, because he lets his bodyguards do whatever, and this can allow Hisoka to then be intertwined with Kurapika somehow. Shrug emoji. I want to go ahead and talk about this before we get on to the rest of the comment. If I had to pick somebody that Hisoka would be allied with, I'm honestly leaning towards it actually being kind of a red herring and it being Morena that he's allied with.
Yeah.
But
that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because beyond that, it really could just be anyone. Like, the answer doesn't even really matter at that rate.
Because also an implication is that, like, obviously he does not want to do anything with Hulkenberg because, he's not a big fan of orgies or whatever, but he also referenced the Nen Beast part as well as being something he's not really fond of. And that's all of the princes. Like, they have their own Nen Beast. The only other person I could see maybe catching his interest is Serednich, only because a lot of his power is not even being based in his Nen Beast right now.
Yeah.
This is all pure potential coming from him and just fast learning of Nen. And I could see that specifically exciting Hisoka. So maybe there's something there if it's any of the princes. But
yes, I think he'll be really interested in Serednich. I want to bring it up, Dylan. Camilla also, because she suppresses her guardian spirit beast. She doesn't want to use it. She blows that whole thing off. She is not into that idea.
Very good point. Yeah, that's another option for sure then.
Yeah.
And just ridiculous Nen ability in general too. So
it's
obviously
crazy.
Hisoka could very much be turned on by that.
Yeah.
So maybe those two is more likely, but I definitely think something is there with Haley and Morena though.
Yes.
I can't help but think that. Comment then continues. Also, what about which ability Chrollo wants to steal to ensure 100% death of Hisoka and no more post-Nen rebirths? I'm thinking it's got to be Camilla's cat and Chrollo fighting Hisoka with a bookmark on that page so it works. Because there's really nothing you can do to come back from that. And yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about in the discussion. That would make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about another ability that Chrollo would maybe even want. That's there on tier 1.
It's just so many factors. Like, one, do we know about the ability already? Two, does he know about certain people being up there? Like, there's so many things we don't know that it's really, really hard to predict right now. Because, like, I don't know, maybe he wants like Melody's ability or some shit, but I don't.
Maybe.
How would he know she's there? Like, there's just so many ifs and buts, and I don't know. It's hard.
It's hard to predict that one, but Camilla does make sense. So
Yeah.
glad to see somebody else is thinking about that.
Yeah.
Lastly, as a piggyback to all this, maybe an additional segment on the pod could be y'all making theories / predictions based on what you read from the chapter. Keep track of them, and then it would be super interesting to come back later once Togashi reveals what actually happens and see how close / far y'all were. I enjoyed that content, to be honest. So that's partially why we made that theory video before the new chapters came out, is we kind of wanted to catalog some of the more popular stuff to kind of see if anything, not only from our personal predictions at the beginning of that episode, but also just the general popular ones, kind of keep track of those loosely to see if anything comes true, which we've seen quite a few come true now and quite a few be proven false. So that's fun in that aspect. My main, I guess, concern isn't the right word. Hesitancy was adding like a dedicated segment to these episodes, at least personally. I don't know about Kaige. Would be that theories in general are kind of like a free-flowing thing that's like ever-changing depending on the chapter release. So my hesitancy would be that a dedicated segment, what that would look like would be just kind of us regurgitating slightly modified theories each episode. And, that might get a little tiring, not just us, but also to listeners and viewers. So that's my main hesitancy with like an additional segment dedicated to theories. But it is something I try and keep in mind when discussing the actual chapters to kind of keep bringing up prior and, current theories. So I don't know if a dedicated segment is needed for that. But I do appreciate the feedback, and it's something I think we'll both keep in mind going forward as a potential option if we decide to change up the segments in any way.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I always try to keep theory crafting like in the back of my mind. I think we throw out theories like whenever we think of them, and we don't really need a dedicated segment to, compare them to what actually happens, because we're going to remember what we thought of. And also from the theory video, if you didn't watch that one, I'd recommend checking that out. We do have all 10 of our theories that we thought of for that written down, and we're definitely going to talk about them once we actually can, but at the time being, none of those are even really close to happening if they do happen, so there's nothing to really compare and contrast at the moment, but when applicable, we will for sure.
Yeah, I think like an episode maybe after the batch is done, or there's a hiatus of some kind. That may be like a fun like little revisited episode, kind of revisiting everything and discussing it. Would be a fun thing. At least maybe for a segment of a future episode. So maybe keep an eye out for that.
Absolutely. All right, next comes from Starkillin, who says, as usual, a banger chapter. No surprises there. Getting to see the real Hisoka and getting an insight into his personal philosophy was a treat. It also meant that Bonolenov's a pretty good actor considering how he acted as Hisoka. So if the troupe ever went back to dubbing tapes, he'd fit right in. Yeah, you're right.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah, he's built for that.
He is. The chapter also emphasized how far above the troupe are compared to the mafia families. With how easily Bonolenov killed Lynch, Rip really liked her. Yeah, us too. So if Morena's high-level followers are able to somewhat compete with them, it'll further highlight how dangerous and volatile her style of Nenability is, and that might be indirectly hype Zhonglei's Guardian Beast with their potential similar ability.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point for sure. Bonolenov is probably was shown to be more deadly through killing Lynch than I ever would have expected him to be, honestly. But he is a troop member, so it makes sense, I suppose. I just never really thought of him as like an active troop member, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, he never really did a whole lot. But,
yeah, he's one of the less active ones, I'd say, thus far.
But yeah, no, good point about the chapter emphasizing though that like Morena's followers are like no joke, like assumingly. So we might see some actual like challenges for the troop, which is exciting in and of itself. Because usually, whenever the troop is showcased, they're kind of just they are dominating, whatever's in front of them. So potentially getting something where they might actually struggle a little bit is kind of exciting in its own way.
Yeah, man, it's just gonna be so cool to see how the troop deals with what they've got ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't even really know what they've got ahead. That's the exciting part too. They have no idea like how capable the Haley is really.
The only one that has really any amount of information is Nobunaga, and even then it's like very limited, just kind of like little. Inferring. Yeah, granted, he's a very good inferrer, but
yes, but they still have not figured out the leveling up system, and that's huge. No.
Very huge.
Because that's also, that's going to be something that throws Henry off too, because he fought those 3 before, and once he sees that they're like so much stronger now, that's probably going to set off some alarms. They might actually figure it out there, honestly, at least Nobunaga.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. Like these 3 chumps are just going to be devices for them figuring out, oh, this is a level up system.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. All right, yeah, good to know. Good to think about. Next up is a comment from Edwards saying, I don't even know what to say. This is absolutely fucking bonkers. Bonolenov is my favorite character in the story. This feels so satisfying.
Whoa.
That is not a sentence I thought I would ever
Holy
read.
hell.
That's,
what?
I highly respect it, though. That's a very unique one, to say the least.
Damn, bro. That's crazy. All right. Hell yeah.
I would really like to hear some explanation as to why exactly Bonolenov is your favorite, though. I'm really curious, genuinely.
I mean, it's a great design.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Favorite in the story. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, I'd love to hear more about that if you don't mind, Edward. That's wild.
Yeah, for real. Continues saying, although him being the only one on tier 1 with Hisoka is a death flag for sure. Yes. Yeah, to say the least. That was already a lot. I cannot even begin to process the Hisoka monologue, or the Wang reveal, or the progress of Haley, or the door. It's Togashi.
It's so good, man.
Togashi. We're seeing Togashi some of his peak writing right now, just in terms of developments at least. Crazy reveals. He's the master of reveals, honestly.
Oh yeah.
It's wildly satisfying to see all this unfold. Couldn't agree more.
100%. Next comes from Brooks Brockett, who says, because of the paneling, I'm assuming what the troop sees at the end are the 3 members of the Haley in the processing room.
Maybe.
I'm going to say no, but
I think they'll be led to them sooner rather than later. I'm just not sure if that's the first thing they see.
Yeah. I could be totally wrong, but yeah, it just doesn't feel right, but who knows? I'm not positive why that would be, but we don't know much about the Cha-R yet either. I also can't imagine them winning here if they have to fight the troop, but maybe more members will come join, and then we might see the death of a troop member. I also wonder if Morena's Joker and the organ thing are related. I was thinking about that too, yeah. But Joker might mean Hisoka, because I'm guessing he got to tier 1 through Morena, but I'm a little lost about certain things happening right now.
Togashi is intentionally keeping things vague, I think, for that reason. He wants to kind of leave it open-ended as to, how did Hisoka get to tier 1? Who invited him? He's obviously setting up these questions for us to be thinking about to be revealed later. And so we can expect that maybe even sooner rather than later. Mm-hmm. But that is an interesting point, though. We still don't know about who's the organ, whatever that's being referenced as. So maybe the Joker is also connected to that, or maybe not. Maybe they're just 2 separate wild cards almost. It's fun to think about, though. So many questions now about the Haley in general and who they're potentially partnering with.
Indeed, yeah.
Next up, we got from Jordan May, saying, what ability is Chrollo going to steal in predictions for the Hulkenberg funeral massacre?
Whew.
Again, it's so hard to predict what ability Chrollo is going after.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about that right now, to be honest. I wish I could speculate more, but that's everything I said is all I got. Hulkenberg, funeral Massenberg. What the hell did I just say? Massenberg?
Did you combine Hulkenberg with massacre?
Yeah. The Massenberg, dude, it's coming.
Massenberg. Oh my god.
Um, the Massenburg is gonna be crazy, dude. That is like I'm not ready for it. I don't know what's gonna happen.
It's gonna be I the more that this is being set up as like an event that multiple parties are looking at to some degree, the funeral procession might actually be like when the fuse goes off for the theater of the bomb. I think that might
could
be
like the sighting point. Like, you know, Chimera Ant has the palace invasion starting. This might be it. Like, this is like everything blows up. We're here. We're just moving.
Yeah. This is what Mizai had referenced all those chapters ago. Just like, you know, like it's ready to explode at any point. It's just a matter of when.
There's
that
just
might be
so
where it
much
starts.
coalescing there, and it's gonna be nuts. Like, that's God, I can't wait.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully soon. I'm very excited.
Yes. Next comes from Please Clap, who says, I feel like the person Dogman is looking for is an unawakened specialist with a lot of potential. Okay, so Morena must want a very specific Hatsu on her side that only a talented specialist could make. This could get very bad very quickly if Morena finds out someone that fills that role.
Oh, that's an interesting theory then. Like, Dogman's not looking for anybody specific in terms of like a name or a face, but just looking for someone that would awaken as a specialist.
That's good. Because they do have empty slots now. They've had 2 deaths, so that could be 2
and
new
that would
ALE
explain
members.
That would explain why Morena and Dogman weren't referencing anybody specifically either. Maybe that's intentional. They don't know who they're looking for. They're just looking for somebody with potential.
That's good. That's very good. Please clap. I like that.
And that would make sense why they would be going to the funeral procession then, because so many people are going to be there that like there's a lot to pick from there. Interesting.
That's good. That's real good.
I like that. That's a very good theory. And that's something I'll be keeping in mind going forward.
100%. Yeah, that's a great one.
Next up, we got a Strep to beat prediction. Haley members will use Hulkenberg's funeral to get a lot of kills and therefore gain a massive amount of levels. Maybe that's the Hulken or the Massenburg, right? Is that what you said? The Haley just kills a lot of people there for levels.
Yeah, maybe.
Imagine someone with a bomb-like Nen ability using it in such a big crowd of people. Hundreds, if not thousands, of people will attend the funeral. There will probably be guards, but they will focus on protecting the important people, not the commoners on the ship.
To think a funeral is like the backdrop for this insane event. Dude. Insane stuff, man.
God, I'm so excited. I want to see what happens there.
Yeah.
The more it's getting referenced. Yeah.
It's going to be insane. And yeah, you could be very right. It could just be an EXP farm for the Haley.
It could be, yeah. Haley are kind of crazy, so like they could be doing anything for all we know.
The thing we know about them at least is they just have no value for human life whatsoever. So like
they want to destroy everything. That's their goal, you know? Yeah, they don't care who dies.
A bunch of people at a funeral, yeah, whatever. That's just like nothing. Cattle.
Which is what Tajo was kind of referencing when, like, you know, Char and GU, they at least view civilians as like they serve
customers.
Them yeah, they're customers. Yep. Or they don't serve them. Or they serve them. Yeah, they're customers at the end of the day. They care about them to some degree, even if it's transactional. Haley, they have disregard for basically all forms of life. So does not matter. Yeah.
Next one comes from Gelato. Hey, you were in the chapter this week.
Hey, congratulations.
Says, Rip Lynch. Togashi had to take that ability right up out of the story. Yeah, he had to.
It's always the most creative ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Assuming Dogman's target is someone we know already, who could it be that's still important to Morena and be at Hulkenberg's funeral? Funny enough, I can imagine it's the short guy who was with Nasubi in the morgue / coffin room, or Silent Majority Killer, or one of the queens. Who knows anymore?
Yeah, there's not really a way to know. Really, it's just kind of one of those things that's up in the air, right?
Yeah.
Because again, so many people are going to be attending that funeral. We just don't know. So who's to say ultimately? But again, I think it's important to know it could be somebody that we don't know. They're just looking for a specialist user of some kind that could join their ranks theoretically.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we read that comment before this one because now I'm just so locked in on that just being like, yeah, they're looking for an unawakened specialist. That just sounds right. I don't know.
Because they're looking for somebody to join them specifically. Like that was kind of like the similar wording they used. And I can't imagine any like big named person would be willing to join Haley for just no reason at all, really. You know, I feel like more of a commoner person or a civilian would be more likely to be convinced to join their group. Is kind of the vibe I get.
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But it could be. Yeah, I get one of the queens is an interesting idea. I don't know, maybe
That'd be a crazy one. But hey, who's to say?
Yeah.
If we know anything about the queen, the big name queens especially, they're a little crazy in the head. So we'll see. Next up from Lopo. So crazy that all the theories about fake Hisoka were so close to being right, and Togashi still managed to throw a curveball. He is certainly one of the best when it comes to unpredictable writing. It seems like Hisoka is in contact with a prince, Chrollo's intuition, and Hisoka's knowledge on the succession ritual. So I wonder who it could be. My money is on Lazarus or Zhonglei, since they are mafia benefactors, and I don't think Serenich would ever have cared enough to invite him. I also loved Bonolenov's inner monologue about Chrollo keeping spots vacant in the troupe. Once again, Togashi has succeeded in adding so much characterization in just a few lines. Can't wait for 406, feels like it's going to be a banger.
Yeah.
I'm not so convinced on Lazarus or Zhonglei being like someone to work with Hisoka purely because they're benefactors. I don't know. Hisoka could be theoretically involved with pretty much anybody though at the same time, so it's kind of hard to predict. But I also can't get out of my head. Like Morena just makes the most sense to me as like kind of really like setting up conflict with the troop and furthering that. But I don't know. It's hard to say. And then I also really like Bonolenov's inner monologue about the vacant spots. That was really telling of just their dynamic in general. It's really nice to see that kind of be shown a spotlight again.
Yeah, I'm of a similar mind with Lazarus or Zhonglei. Like to me, I just kind of fail to see like does it even matter which prince it was, honestly? Because if it's just an invitation, like I don't know, it doesn't necessarily mean he's working for them exactly. It's just like
an invitation would imply some kind of agreement, right? So
in theory, yeah. So I don't know. It just really feels like it would be Morena. I don't know, but because we can't take what Togashi wrote there at face value. It was just speculation from Chrollo. Mm-hmm. So, and it could just be a misdirect, like that's happened many times in this arc alone. So, but yeah, I mean, again, I could see it being Losers or Zhonglei. Really, it could be any of them. I have no idea. There's no hints really. Yeah, beyond the Joker thing with Morena. That's the only evidence we have, and that's not even really much.
Well, now that we've seen Hisoka in the spotlight again, and we know the real Hisoka is there just in general, right? Mm-hmm. It's only a matter of time until that's revealed. Togashi's setting it up for a reason,
We'll get there.
We'll get there for sure. We'll get our answers in due time, and really, it feels like with this batch especially, we're getting answers at a lot faster of a pace than I ever would have expected. Mm-hmm. So, hey, we'll see. We got a lot of chapters coming up still for this batch. Working on 424 right now as we speak. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, so next one comes from Yuna Kimi, who says, Togashi really killed Lynch that early when her body and soul could be really useful with all the shape-shifting and soul-swapping. Oh, that's true, yeah. I don't... yeah, that might be why he killed her off, honestly.
It's like, this is too good. Like, why would...
Yeah, it's busted.
Too good for her status. I kind of get it, but it's so sad still. That was such a cool power.
The Haleys and Hulkenberg are going to start their moves during Hulk's funeral. Yep, they sure are. Mm-hmm. And then there's the troop. It's like a recipe for absolute chaos. I love that. Yeah. Maybe it was Prince Saleh Saleh who invited Hisoka. Dude,
dying
please.
Wish.
That would be so funny, actually. The person who invited him's not even alive anymore. So it really doesn't matter.
That I like the implication that that's just like a method to get Hisoka on tier 1 without being affiliated with anybody. Yeah. Just I was invited by a dead prince. I guess I'm here now.
Yeah, I could also just totally see Sale doing that. You just like think it's fun. He's like hired him as like a court jester or something.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. That'd be really funny. Sale living on even after he's dead.
Yes.
Thank you for the comment. Next up, we got Yes Sir saying Morena's Joker is probably Hisoka. Well put. I feel like that's what a lot of us are thinking is a possibility. So,
100%.
We'll see.
Yes, indeed. Next, we got I Love Waffles, who says another banger chapter. Togashi's on a hot streak. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Glad to see Hisoka back and to check in with Morena. Yeah. It feels like we are getting the answers to some questions, but also introducing new questions. Always.
Always, yeah.
I have a prediction about what Prince... Okay, sorry. I read that as like Prince Hisoka, but this is the sentence. What Prince Hisoka is allied with. It wouldn't be a Mafia-affiliated prince because the Mafia would know about him. Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean... I don't know. I feel like that doesn't really matter, but...
We'll see.
We'll continue. Benjamin, Camilla, Serenich, and Hulkenberg don't need another bodyguard and or are preoccupied. If it was Wobble, we'd already know. Oh, that'd be wild if it was Wobble.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not impossible. I don't think we should rule that out, but
it's
unlikely.
Not, but yeah, I feel like we would have seen him be involved already if he was allied, you know?
Unless it's like a spy thing, like it's a secret mission that he's on for Oito.
But then like you think Karapika would know, and we'd already see something about that by now.
Probably. Yeah, I'm with you, but I don't think we should completely rule it out. There's a chance.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because I mean, she was looking for Hunter Association people to hire, and he is a hunter, so there's something.
That's true. Yeah.
Mariam is isolated, so it can't be him. Again, not necessarily, but because he's not with any of the princes that would have potentially hired him, I don't think rules out that prince, because there's espionage at play. This could be a secret thing going on, but I don't know. Who knows? Anyways, this leaves Tyson, Tubepa, and Fugetsu. I think it's Tyson because she has a similar personality to Hisoka, being very whimsical and playful. I also think she's one of the princes less focused on the contest, so it makes sense for her to make a risk hiring a wild card. Plus, she's a bit dumb and unserious. We also haven't had Tyson be the focus too much, so it makes sense that we haven't seen Hisoka until now.
At the same time, while I see the points, I feel like Tyson also doesn't care about the succession contest too much ultimately, and doesn't really want to put a lot of like stakes into it. So I don't know. I feel like her hiring external help on the likes of Hisoka would be very out of character. But I do see the points in that.
She did hire Izunavi and the other guy. They're both from the Hunter Association, so
yeah, that's also from the get-go as well, though. So like, I don't know. Something about the vibes of that aspect of an alliance feels a little off to me, I guess. Like, I more so see Tubepa as a more likely option than Tyson, at least personally. And then Fugetsu, I do not think that is a thing.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Random thought, but Hisoka is going to absolutely lose it if he finds out about Serenich. Yeah.
I think so, too. Yeah.
That's like a match made in heaven.
He's not using his Nen Beast. He can suppress it with Zetsu, and he has a ridiculous ability and innate ability for learning Nen. Yeah, you know, he'd be turned on in a heartbeat, I think.
Yep. Also, who do you guys think Chrollo is looking for? Okay, so this again. He needs an ability to keep Hisoka dead. The only thing I can think of is something that enforces Zetsu. Okay. Mm-hmm. The one ability Chrollo knows about that enforces Zetsu is Chain Jail. Oh, man. Maybe he will visit Karapika, not knowing the ability is restricted to troop members. Oh, okay, this is interesting. Another ability that can enforce Zetsu is Longhee's contract, but I doubt he knows about that. Maybe if he meets with Karapika, he'd come looking for Chain Jail, but negotiate to get with a Steel Chain or Longhee's contract. The only other one I can think of, is Camilla's cat's name, since it drains life force.
Dude, I cannot I cannot imagine the immediate aftermath of Chrollo being face to face with Kurapika being anything but a fight. Like, that's the thing. But
I mean, they did. Okay, if we really think back, end of York New City, it ended peacefully. They reached an agreement, went their separate ways. And we also know that Chrollo doesn't seem to have any malice towards Kurapika. At least on page, he might deep down. But right now, he's hard focused on Hisoka.
Mm-hmm.
Kurapika, maybe not so much. I feel like if anyone would instigate, it would probably be Kurapika. I don't know if he could keep his head on exactly.
Yeah,
when we
out
see
of
Chrollo.
impulsiveness is kind of what I'm thinking.
Right.
But at the same time, this is kind of leading me to realize, like, you know, Kurapika and Chrollo are both in very similar positions right now. Where like, they like Kurapika like really wants to, you know, get the Scarlet Eyes or whatever, right? And like also really wants to kill the troop, but he also needs to protect Wobble. Yeah. Chrollo really wants to, you know, like he's so focused on Hisoka that maybe, you know, anything with Kurapika or anything else really is just secondary, right? So like, you know, they both have alternative goals that don't necessarily need to. That it would be a waste of time for both of them to kind of be at throats with one another. So maybe that's how they kind of get cool-headed and reach an agreement of some kind. I guess it's possible. The more I'm thinking on it, but
it's possible. Yeah,
that would be wild to see another like semi-alliance between the two, or like just in general see a semi-alliance between the two rather.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I guess the question just becomes then: does Chrollo know Kurapika's on the boat?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this all hinges on, and we have no idea. Something I did just, when I was thinking about that, what came to mind is Hisoka almost certainly knows that Kurapika's on the boat now because of, I mean, he knows all about the succession contest, and if you know about that, you know about Kurapika because he's heavily involved. So that's something to keep in mind.
The reveal of Nen in general in that tier. So.
Yeah.
So, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Hisoka probably knows he's there. Kurapika doesn't, though. That's interesting.
It is. I'll continue. He says, any guesses about what the troops saw at the end? I literally cannot predict this. I can't either. I'll just say straight up. I do not know.
Nope.
Hands in the air, man. I got nothing. I doubt it's the Hail Lee members we saw. Yeah, I'll agree with that at least in the same page, because if it was, I don't think it would be treated as a cliffhanger reveal. It's also just the way they react at the end. That doesn't sound like they're seeing people. It sounds like they're seeing a thing, like something.
If they saw those three, especially, I feel they'd be like, all right, boys, time to fuck shit up, you know? But, you know, that's not the reaction at all. So, like, it's something that caught them off guard. I don't think it's those three. Yeah, we'll see. Hands in the air, though. I got nothing aside from what you said.
With Hulkenberg's possession of balls, the assassination attempt on Loserus, the troop finding Hisoka, Hulkenberg's funeral with Dogman doing something, the second stage of Nen classes with an assassination of Wobble planned, and any other further chaos that may erupt, it feels like shit is going to go down soon. I know we all think that after every chapter, but it truly feels like it could start in 2 to 3 chapters. Marina benefits the most from this, and I could honestly see her becoming the main antagonist, at least temporarily, with how much focus. Yeah, a temporary main antagonist. I totally agree. So much focus has been put on her volume cover, chapter cover. Just her character introduction was really bombastic and special. I'm with you. I think we might be in the phase of the story right now, actually, where she is like the most important. Like, this is her part of the story.
And it only makes sense. It's been very clear for a while now that Togashi has had big plans for her. So yeah, it feels like things are all set up now for that to actually come to fruition. Yeah.
And then says, thanks, and keep up the great work. Thank you for the good work.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate the long comment. That was a lot of fun to read.
Yes, that was great.
Next up, we have, was it Illy Ass? I love you, ass. I don't know. Is that how you say it? Is that supposed to be how you say that?
No idea.
Hello, my thought. It's not about this chapter, but what I'm thinking now that the King Naspi doesn't have any kids, it means that every prince has another father, and that how they make their country stronger by generations. What do you think about it? That it's possible or not? I think it's only just maybe a handful of princes at most that like maybe Naspi is like an illegitimate father, or they have a different birthing circumstance than what we're led to believe initially. I don't think it's as something as like crazy as like every single one of the princes have like some kind of illegitimacy in the bloodline. I don't think it'd go that far.
Yeah, it is an interesting thought, though. Like, yeah, I guess keep the bloodline fresh, but it's at that point, it's also not even a bloodline. It's just people that have the same last name.
That turns the entire point of the arc on its head almost, and I feel like that's not something Togashi would do completely. So.
But I do think more than one, at least. Yeah, I think that's likely.
Yeah.
Next comes from Cop Fuber JK, who says, crazy chapter. As always, we are left with more questions than answers. But I like the way the story shapes, especially around the troop. I fucking love Nobunaga, so I'm very proud of my G. Hell yeah. Personally, I think Bonolenov as fake Hisoka was nuts. He killed it, and you can really see the skill difference between the Mafia and the troop. Yeah. But he is also alone on Tier 1 with Hisoka, and I don't see that ending well for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope to see more of my goat.
I think that's supposed to be Chrollo. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be.
Corolla. It's gotta be Chrollo. I have to assume. But this is catching fire more and more. Indeed.
Absolutely agree. Yeah. It's just reveal after reveal after reveal, and it's all leading towards something big blowing up, and it's just great. Yeah. And yeah, but Bonolenov as fake Hisoka makes all the sense in the world. I can't really. Yeah. I don't know. People were right. I was wrong. And I gotta live with that.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we got Kevin Mac Williams saying, Chrollo is on the ship looking for a treasure that is a Nen ability that will help defeat Hisoka. I don't think it's the fourth prince's because Chrollo would have no way of knowing about it. Of the powerful abilities we know of on the ship, I think it's second Prince Camilla's cat Nen ability he's going to steal. Fight Hisoka one-on-one, lose, and then have the ability kill Hisoka. This would also make it possible for the other princes to kill her because I don't know how else they're going to do it.
Hey, wow, I didn't even think about that part, but yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I said. That's cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that last part, true, that is a way to get Camilla's ability off of her and make her killable.
Either make her killable or force her to actually like bring the Nen Beast out.
Yeah,
and see what
yeah.
that does. Cause,
see, that like, right there, that makes me think that's it. Like, that just makes all the pieces just slide in at that point. Because, yeah, that brings her Nen Beast out. That gets rid of her ability. Yeah.
Yeah, that adds more just exciting reveals to the pipeline. You know, like, Camilla being like, fine, I guess I'll use my Nen Beast, like.
Yeah, if it's all she's
adds
got.
More layers to either her downfall or uprising, I guess, of Camilla. Like, I don't know. Interesting to think about. Dominoes would really fall into place there.
Very good. Next from Twitter is Yup, who says, just want to ask if you guys think Hisoka knows he's being watched. In chapter 170 of the manga, Kaluto tries to spy on Hisoka with Zetsu, but Hisoka still notices him. Machi even says his Zetsu is perfect. Yes, I think he knows he's being watched.
I think the point you made earlier, Kaige, about like the solitaire comment, like I think that especially
he's being cheeky.
Me. He's being cheeky. He knows he's being watched. It's just he's biding his time to make the jump. Yeah,
100%.
Playing around, just seeing what happens. So again, more red flags for Bonolenov, but
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see.
His days are numbered.
Oh, for sure, 100%. But yeah, he's being watched, 100%. Yeah. Moving on to This Is Me 2014, saying, amazing chapter. It's funny that real Hisoka reveal is in chapter 405. Gon's batch number, Kenny ties with Morena, which ability Chrollo wants to steal, what Hisoka's next move, and many more. Togashi is something else. Not sure what you're referencing entirely with Gon's batch number. But
from the Hunter exams, his badge number, I think you meant to say.
Oh, badge number. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Clever. That is funny. That has to be a coincidence, right? I can't.
I don't know.
It's not. Yeah, maybe no one Togashi it's not, but that's funny. Yeah, Kenny ties with Moreno, which ability Chrollo steal. Yeah, it's just Togashi really set up a billion different things with this chapter. Yep. It's impressive, honestly.
Yeah, incredible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Next up is from Thunderstorm, who says, my first guess on the ability Chrollo wants to steal to permakill Hisoka might be Kurapika's. Okay. Perhaps using Judgment Chain to turn off Hisoka's Nen, preventing him from resurrecting.
So this provides an interesting thing because we know the restriction on a good amount of Kurapika's chains is that it has to be on a troop member, right?
No, it's only chain jail.
Oh, it's only chain jail?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but Judgment Chain, the weird thing with that is you have to be an Emperor time, and I don't... can Chrollo copy that? Is that a thing you can copy? Because that's genetic.
So that's another thing. If Chrollo were to try and use copy from Kurapika, what would that entail? Even?
That's such a weird one. Yeah.
But also, doesn't it steal the ability effectively as well? Would Kurapika not have that anymore if Chrollo?
Yeah, he wouldn't have it anymore.
Which then leaves another would he be able to give it back somehow, and we just don't know about it?
He must be able to because he did take Cortopi and Shalmark's ability. Remember, and
You're right.
I can't imagine he was going to steal those forever.
Okay, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So yeah, there is a way. This is just fun to think about, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was bringing that up though because at least with chain jail, obviously that can only be used on a troop member. What about Hisoka though, where he was a troop member, but now he's not? So does it count prior troop members? There's a weird thing with that. But I'm interested in figuring out what that entails.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But guess we'll see if that even comes to fruition. But yeah, Kurapika's definitely a contender for abilities Chrollo may or may not want. That would be a wild encounter if that were to be the case. Next up, the last one actually from the community post. Baseball.
No, there's a few more.
Not? Yeah. Oh, there's a few more. Oh, sorry. My bad.
It's just on another page. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Baseball tomorrow. Comments. I wonder what Machi is up to.
Me too, man.
Yeah. Who's to say? She's crazy right now. I don't know what
nuts.
she's up
to. We're gonna see her soon. I get the feeling. Maybe not soon. I guess I shouldn't say, but she's coming. Let her cook.
She's on her way. Yeah, let her cook.
Next comes from Stonebreaker IO, who says, "Let's be honest. In hindsight, there was no way Hisolanov."
That's good.
These
That's
names.
Really good.
All right.
Yeah, we're doing so much impersonations and body swaps now. Do we have to use these names? We're left no choice. You know how hard it is to convey it in the chapter discussions?
Yeah, it's tough.
That Hulkenberg chapter was screwing us up.
Yeah.
Man,
there's no way Hisolanov could have been Hisoka because his reveal was not worthy of the great Hisoka. In hindsight, I agree. Because his reveal on this chapter was a lot better.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Cutting off someone's arms in the hunter exam for basically no reason. Hisoka. Standing in front of what appears to be 3 children completely naked on Greed Island. Yep, that's Hisoka. Gambling on tier 1 while having an inner monologue about what turns him on. Definitely Hisoka. But punching someone in the stomach entirely for strategic and defensive reasons while refusing to say much of anything, not good enough. I agree.
Yeah.
that's a good comment.
Very good point.
Also, he says, also, I owe Kaige an apology. So, Dylan, repeat after me. Imagine not getting killed by Dogman.
Imagine not getting killed by Dogman.
There you go, Dylan.
Hands are up.
Coming around on Dogman. As a side note, Dogman will probably be the next patient 0 since his level is so high. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what it's leading to. It looks like, right? Mm-hmm. If anybody's going to be a new patient 0, it's probably Dogman. Just because of the level gap.
That may even be why Marina emphasizes his importance because she knows he's the next member 0.
Yeah, maybe.
A few members might be excited about that, but I imagine most of the new people getting infected will be a bit disappointed to have Dogman instead of Marina. Yeah, probably.
That's funny.
That's a great comment, Stonebreaker. Thank you. That was very funny.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you for calling me out too on my
expose him,
Dogman. Yeah, expose him. Yeah. Next up, we have Isaiah. Please let me know the exact way you pronounce your name, if possible. I would love to get that right and, not be even a little bit off if possible. So
He did say we can call him Isa or Isa, but again, he didn't say how to pronounce that. So I don't know. But hey, let's hear from you again this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate the comments no matter what.
Yes, thank you so much.
I hope you know that. This chapter, Nobunov was talking about why he thinks the spot is still open in the troop. I think what's implied is that Chrollo wants to disband the troop after this last job. But I think he won't have the change to do something else with his friends/family, not even disband. Interesting thought that the troop would disband after killing Hisoka.
Oh, man. I don't know. I just don't know.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
one.
Something to think about, though, because there is a reason. Togashi wouldn't write that in for nothing, kind of pointing out that, hey, Chrollo is keeping these spots open and not really filling them.
Yeah.
There's something to that. We just don't know entirely what the motive is, I suppose.
Right.
So, we'll see, I guess. That's something good to keep in mind, though.
Yeah, definitely. And the final one here about the chapter comes from Twitter from Naomi Math, who says, Hakenberg, in quote, what? Interesting, okay. I'm confused about that, but
Probably,
I say
I think it's just meant to be.
Somewhere?
I think it's just meant to be Hulkenberg. I feel like.
Okay, I get the closest story of.
Saying well,
because
Hulkenberg's
okay,
not dead.
I
He's not
misinterpreted.
dead, yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Hulkenberg, quote unquote, is about to have the craziest funeral ever. Yeah,
yeah. To say
can't
the
be
least.
said enough. That is gonna be insane.
God, I can't wait to see that unfold. I'm so curious.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's it for the community post comments. So be sure to keep an eye out for those every Sunday before the chapter, or right as the chapter drops. If you want to get in your thoughts, if you want to get in your thoughts, have them read on the show potentially, or again check us out on the Twitter account, TXHXA Pod, I believe.
Yep.
And you can leave comments there as well for posts for chapter discussions. So. Thank you for all the comments. Really appreciate that, guys. And then we'll be going now into the other comments. These are comments from usually the prior episode. I do want to make a quick note before we read these. We're only reading 2 on the show today. One, just because we are kind of running out of time for this episode. We want to kind of keep it around or under the 2-hour mark if possible. So just, wanted to shout out to that. And also just because we're getting a lot of interactions now on the actual chapter discussion comments or community posts, whatever you want to call it. And we feel it's more applicable to really prioritize those comments for these episodes, considering, it's kind of the subject matter of the episode. So I just want to make it aware that we will probably only be picking around 2 to 3 comments per episode now from prior episodes, just to kind of make sure that we are focusing a good amount of our episode time on, the subject matter at hand. This could change, depending on the ebb and flow of each episode. If we don't get a whole lot of discussion on the current chapter for whatever reason. What I'm trying to say is this is subject to change. But for now, for episodes like this where we have a crazy amount of chapter discussion, crazy good chapter discussing a lot of content from it, we'll probably be winding down the amount of comments we leave or we read from the prior episodes. Be sure to interact still, as always, though. You still have a chance of being shown up on the show if you leave a comment. I just kind of want to throw that out there to set expectations going forward.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, let's go ahead and read the 2 comments we have today to discuss from the prior episode. First up, from Spiral Trigger EX, saying, TLDR, Hunter x Hunter edition. So, this is specifically a reply to a much longer comment that was left on the last episode for chapter 404. Be sure to go check that out if you want to see the full version. This is just the TLDR to kind of talk about something that just caught our interest. Saying, Hulk and Mike with Hulkenberg's guards will gain supporters during the procession. Hulk and Mike will shoot Benjamin with the arrow, creating Benjamite, 2 in 1 body, and Benjaberg. Benjaberg arrests Benjamite, then kills himself. Hulkenberg returns to his own body and revives due to ability or spiritual beast. Hulkenberg's immortal as long as he doesn't die within his own body and has supporters. So I really like this and wanted to include it because the implication here is that we might see even more post-mortem nen shenanigans that allows him to maybe return to his own body even after his body dies. And that's an incredibly exciting concept to me as something for Hulkenberg to take advantage of throughout the contest. And I wanted to really call that out because I think it's a really good theory.
Yes, and the more involved version of this theory is also great. I'd highly recommend reading that too on the comments of the last episode on YouTube. But yeah, this idea is really interesting to me. I think it's a pretty, it's a solid way to view like Hulkenberg's path right now because it's kind of hard to predict at the moment. But this is a really good thought. I really like this idea for what Hulkenberg could be cooking here.
Yeah, just continuously body hopping is just a crazy thing to think about. The only hole that I might see in this is that what would the repercussions be when he has his funeral and then all of a sudden the body is alive again and active and it's Hulkenberg? And it's like, what are the general public going to think about that? You know, how would he be able to even do anything? Like, would he be locked up immediately? I feel like he would, you know? So
yeah, that would be crazy.
It's hard to see how the repercussions of that would go down, but it's a fun one to think about regardless. I think post-mortem nen could definitely be a factor once everything does happen.
Yeah, I didn't even think about post-mortem nen in relation to Hulkenberg really until now, so that is definitely something to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm. Just more stuff to potentially make him even crazier. What a character. God.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the comment, though. I encourage everyone to check out the longer comment on the YouTube video version for chapter 405. No, 404. 404, yeah. It was a really good read. I encourage it a lot.
That's from Spiral Trigger EX, just a reminder.
Mm-hmm. And then the last comment we're going to be reading from the prior episode is Cody Collins. Wonder if Zhang's Nen Beast will flip around / change its face when the Mafia conflict really kicks off. Maybe if Loserus is killed and Zhang sees opportunity for a power grab, the Nen Beast will change faces and the coins will gain functionality. I really like this one. This caught both mine and Caige's attention, purely because it's shown now that the coins changing design, depending on who has them, is kind of like a big factor within Zhongli's Nen Beast right now. I really wonder if that also applies to the actual Nen Beast itself, because it kind of resembles a coin if you know kind of squint at it a little bit. Like that's its whole purpose, right? It's basically a giant coin. So what if it changing face or changing form to some degree allows it to kind of go back and forth between, depending on whatever the conditions are. This being more of a long-term thing right now, but what if it changes design to be like, okay, you have abilities that can actually be useful in the short term now, It's a fun little thing to think about how that can make Zhongle an actual threat right now. I just thought it was a really interesting idea.
Yeah, it also could potentially tie into that idea that many people have of being able to insert coins into the Nen Beast, because maybe it could be a thing where, like, insert enough and it'll do a face turn, or it'll change in some way, like, change the ability of itself, or something along those lines. I think it's a interesting thought, like, especially like you said, viewing the Nen Beast itself as a big coin is a perspective I hadn't thought about. Definitely could have something on the other side. We don't know. We've only seen the front.
Yeah, I like the idea of inserting the coins maybe in order to make a form change. The only hole I see in that, though, is that obviously he can give the coins out to pretty much anybody, but only a select amount of people can actually see the Nen Beast.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that we'd have to navigate for that to be a possibility.
Worth noting, including Zhongle himself, he can't even see it.
Yeah. So that's a very prevalent thing. So we have to keep that in mind also with the limitations of his Nen Beast and ability right now. But I thought this was really interesting. I thought it really plays into the whole coin aspect of it, and could be a fun way to explore Zhongle even further as an actual threat to the contest.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's all I have from the prior episode. Apologies if your comment did not get read. Be sure to keep interacting, though. There's always going to be a chance that we read your comment. We really appreciate reading everything. We read every single comment. Yeah, thank you guys so much for the interaction and for talking about this lovely series with us as it continues. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed. And I definitely want to emphasize, we read every comment, at least. Even if we don't read it on the show, we're still reading it. And, sometimes I'll even interact with it, and Dylan always can too if he wants to. So they're, even if we don't read them on the show, still reading them, still love your comments. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you very, very much.
All right. Any final thoughts you want to get out into the world before we wrap up, Dylan?
I've said my piece for pretty much everything. I just want to reemphasize this was an amazing chapter, and yeah, this just it's I love Hunter x Hunter, man. It's so fun to read week to week right now.
Oh my
it's
God,
only gonna
yeah.
get better. I only see it going up and up and up from this chapter onwards.
Yeah, this is one of those chapters I finished and I was just like, man, I love Hunter x Hunter. Can't say it any better myself. It's just so good.
I love Hunter x Hunter. That's the lesson.
Yes. And hey, everybody, remember, Dylan's birthday's tomorrow. Tell him happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that. 25, fourth of a century.
Yeah. Can't believe it.
Yep.
All right. And with that, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod for for updates on the show and, also the call-out posts every week. Mm-hmm. As always, we'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can people find you online?
So you can find me at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm still trying to use both to my best ability. Twitter just has a bit. I have more of a foundation there, so I guess I'm more active on there even now. But you can follow me both there on both platforms there if you're interested in anime, manga, video games, random retweets from me, One Piece, TCG. I'm into a lot of things, a lot of nerdy hobbies. So any of that interests you, you can find me there.
Yep, and you can find me at Kaige10. That's KAIIGE10. Same kind of stuff as Dylan. Big nerd. Just tweet about whatever I'm into at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm also on Blue Sky, but try as I might, I still cannot break myself away from Twitter. But one day we'll see what happens. But I am on Blue Sky. I do look at it. I just don't post on there anymore. I tried to for a second, but then I just kind of stopped. I should just start cross posting. I'll just tweet something and then I'll post it on Blue Sky too.
Yeah, that's a good way to start, I feel like.
Yeah. But yeah, so beyond that, for the show next week, we will have a guest. Won't announce it again, yet, just in case. But this one's 99% sure. I'm pretty sure this is locked in. But yeah, you can look forward to a community post later in the week and see who we're having on.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
Yep, and we will see you guys then for chapter 406. See you guys later.
Yep, see you next week.